What's going on, guys? Sorry about that. Had some issues with the audio on the live stream, so I'm back again, and hopefully this will fix the issue. I don't think I can actually have Logic open while I've got Studio One open, so that's going to be something we'll have to work around. On the next stream, I actually might cover off what I did inside of Logic, but for now we'll just cover off Studio One. So if you're just tuning in, once again, sorry about that. There was a bit of a technical issue that we just had, and I'm just trying to work out some of that stuff here. So anyway, you guys, thank you once again, like I said, for being patient with me. This is the first time I've had a live stream, so I'm just really trying to get this all sorted out. So anyway, if you're tuning in, let's go through some of the mix here and get back to that. Had a bit of an issue with the old live stream audio. So I'm just going to wait for some of you guys to tune back in so that we can get this happening again. Let's go through the mix from the start. So let's wait for a few more people to join the live stream. At the moment, we had a couple of people on before, but I had to cut it short. Sweet. Okay, so thanks for that. What I realize is I don't think Logic can be opened at the same time as Studio One. It just messes with the audio, so let's get just figuring out with this one. Okay, so with the mix, basically, I'll just go through the mixing side of it because that's probably the best thing to cover off at the moment inside of this project. We'll just bring this down a bit so you can kind of see what's happening. All right, awesome. So thanks for tuning back in again there, Alan. Awesome, man. I really appreciate it, as per usual, and thank you for everything you guys do. So the mix itself, it's quite simple the way I've done this. The way I've laid it out, though, so you understand how the whole thing is working is, first off, I've got a bunch of buses here. So just pay attention to this section here. All of these highlighted sections are what they call buses. So if you don't understand what a bus is, it's pretty much where you're feeding all of the audio from all of the channels into, or it could be some of the channels, all of it. It depends on how you want to set it up, but you can send it all into a bus or some of it into a bus, and this just allows you to then edit or apply compression or EQ on a single set of instruments. So basically then you do the same sort of thing with reverb. You can do the same thing when you're summing the audio as well. Let me know, by the way, how the audio is on this, because I don't know on your side. If it's good, just let me know. Otherwise, so with this, what I've done here, I've got an external summing mixer, which I recently just started using on my actual mixers. What happens with this summing mixer is all of these tracks you can see here, they're actually being bussed out. So you've got sends as well. I'll just bring that back down as well so you guys can see what's happening. So this section here tells you where all of these instruments are going to. So it's instruments in this section here. They all go across to the instrument bus, which I've labeled instrument, and that's just set there in white so I know which one is good. Awesome. Yeah, good to see you as well. Thank you for tuning in there, Music Octavius. I really appreciate it, man. And I just want to do a live stream for you guys because I don't normally do this, and I feel like it's a great way to reach out to you guys as well, and you know, give you information that you may not get off my videos normally. So anyway, getting back to the buses here, this is the instrument bus where you could see majority of these instruments are all going to that. What happens inside of this bus, then I send it out to my summing mixer. So a summing mixer allows you to basically send a digital format audio into an analog summing mixer. I'm using air quotes because you know, analog versus digital, that whole argument, it's kind of a funny one. But anyway, it allows you to send it outside of your project into an analog device and then back into the digital realm to be recorded. So all of these are being bussed into the buses at the end here. And then you can see on the top here where it says sum 1, 2, and 3, and 4. These are basically there's 8 channels in total, but there's 4 stereo pairs. So you have to have 8 to make 4, which means there's 2 of each. So 2 is stereo, so 1 left and right, meaning stereo. So they're going out into the analog realm and then coming back in on this channel here, which is called summing, which I've labeled that summing in, and then it gets recorded to be played back. So the way that then I work, I don't have to have this, by the way. If you don't have a summing mixer or you don't use anything analog, you don't have to have it. Trust me, it's just something that adds a bit of character. And if you want to add character to the track, that can be done with compression. It can be done with anything, distortion, whatever you have available to you. You guys can use that. But it's just something that I like to use to allow an additional character and also a bit of, I guess, analog width that you get with summing that you don't necessarily get with digital. You can use plugins to get that sort of effect as well, which I might show you a plugin that I typically use to get more of a width to my track. So we'll just go to Isotope and have a look. This free plugin here, the Imager, I'll just drop it onto one of these channels just to show you what it looks like if you don't know what it is. So basically this is an imaging plugin, and what it will do is it spreads out the signal. It could make it sound more stereo, or if you bring this down here, the width of it, obviously it brings it down to mono. So if you're playing with something like this, you can kind of get that same kind of analog sort of thing. What am I using for a summing mixer? Yeah, okay, so the summing mixer is, I'll just show you a picture of it so you can see what it looks like. Let me just get this window out of the way. Okay, so that's the back end of the summing mixer. So it's called Little 1.8, and I'll show you what the front section looks like as well so you guys can see that. There we go. So that's what it looks like at the front. So it's a really cheap summing mixer, which I recently came across these guys. It's called Vintage Maker, which is the company who make it. And it's a very cheap, when I'm talking about cheap, I'm talking about like 99 euro, I think, roughly about that. Compared to what they're usually around about $1,500 or $2,000. Some of them SBL, some from, I think SSL make one as well. And there's a few other companies that make summing mixers, but yeah, this is just a cheap option to get. Wants to know the brand? Yeah, so that's the brand. So Vintage Maker. So that you can see that there, it says Vintage Maker. I don't know if it's clear enough for you guys to make out, but yeah, it's definitely something that's cheap and a good option for summing. So I'll just go to the back of it and just explain to you what I was talking about a bit earlier. So this is the input section on the summing mixer. So basically it's got 8 channels. So you've got all left, and then at the bottom it's all right. So there's 4 channels for the right, 4 for the left. And then you've got the outputs here, which is a stereo pair. And that allows you then to, you know, summing, you're pretty much on the project. I'll just explain that again. So if you guys aren't familiar with what I'm talking about. So all of these channels here are going out to these outputs on the back here. And then it's being played from this output section here, the stereo pair. And that's coming back in. It's being recorded in this channel here. So yeah, so that's what's happening with that summing mixer. So it's super, I don't know, it's a pretty awesome thing to have if you're able to do it with your interface. My interface is got a lot of outputs and inputs to be able to do that, but it's just giving me a bit of analog vibe to the track. So yeah, so anyway, with the track itself, we've got a lot of EQ and compression happening and some sends as well. So let's cover off maybe some of that. Have you guys got any questions about EQ, compression, anything like that? Do you want to know stuff about that, or is there any things that I could assist you on in that side of things? Let me know in the comments. I just want to I feel like I'm rambling, so I'm trying to get you guys engaged as far as what you want to see on this channel. Let me know if you got questions anyway. So I'll run through the situation here. So first is the drums, I think, and the vocals. So I've got, let me just double check. Yeah, you won't hear any audio because it needs to have this section unsoloed. So I'll just show you what I'm talking about. Just give me one sec. I don't know, for whatever reason, the audio messes up sometimes on this project, so it's just the way it goes. Okay. Alright, so yeah, so let's get back to the EQ side of it and talk about that. So this EQ that I'm using is, I believe that's the instant for the vocal. Just want to make sure. Okay, no, sorry. It's not for the vocals. It's for the actual instruments here. Okay, cool. So this section here, I'm using a lot of a filter to get rid of the low end so you guys understand what's happening here. So this is allowing some of the low end to be cut off, and then some of the mids to low, and a bit of the 2K as well. Just getting rid of that and isolating it. And what I'm doing is saving that for the rest of the track. So you can see on each of these tracks, kind of the same kind of thing happens, and I'm using multiband compression to get that same effect as well. So that allows, I kind of use multiband compression to sort of like an EQ sometimes as well, because sometimes you don't want to just EQ stuff out because it will leave a lot of the stuff that you want in there at some points. And sometimes I feel like multiband compression allows the mix to breathe a bit better with that stuff that you would have taken out with EQ, but it's allowing it just to be turned down in volume, basically. And that's what I use multiband compression for. So I'm using that as well as EQ in combination to get the right amount of frequencies, and also to turn up or turn down the volumes that I need in the mix. So that's pretty much what's happening on that track. The next thing is the drums, which I've got these two tracks here in pink. They're basically, let me just get the EQ open so you guys can see that. You'll be surprised, but the drums had a lot of low end in them, which I needed to get out to make the mix sit right. And the same thing applied with this one as well, which I'll just bring up to you guys to see. So that pretty much feedback. Oh yeah, feedback from the artists. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's an interesting one, because sometimes, well, most of the time when I get tracks, I don't get a lot of time to spend talking with the artist. If I'm working with somebody, for example, if somebody sends me a mix and I get a chance to then speak to the artist or the producer, then definitely yes. I would probably ask for feedback as far as what they want to hear in the track, because like, I'm sure you'd understand, when you're working on a track, it's not about you. It's not about what you want to do on the track. It's about what the artist wants it to sound like and what they expect it to sound like. Again, it's difficult sometimes when you're getting sent stuff from all over the world, which I've worked on tracks from all over the place, like the UK, the US, Norway, all sorts of stuff. And it's difficult when they have something in their mind and then you get this track that you're like, that's not what I think's possible on this track. But I guess it's negotiating with them and getting them to understand where things necessarily may be, or where they may not sit right on the track, and then you kind of get them to work on it or resubmit parts of the track that need to be corrected. But yes, I would definitely ask for feedback if it's possible. Again, if it's not, you can't do too much about it. Did I get paid before or after the mix is done? Okay, good call. You're willing to charge, but I would ask for a deposit, because the main thing is when you ask for a deposit, it shows that the person that you're working with is committed to giving you money, for one. First, or second thing I should say, is you're getting money for your time. So obviously then it's engaging them to work with you. And three, they'll probably think that you're serious about what you're doing with your music and what you're doing with your time as well. So yeah, for sure. I would ask for a deposit and then the remainder after the work is done, so that way you're getting paid at least a bit. If they think that the work's not up to scratch, you guys can negotiate, I guess, on that side of it. Maybe resubmit information as far as the track to them, resubmit parts of it or all of it, or correct issues that are wrong with it, and then ask for the final amount when that's all done. The other thing, yeah, okay, what's this? Do you even want to get involved? Do they even want to get involved? Okay. Yeah, sometimes they do. Most of the time they probably would like to be involved, but it's difficult in the internet age to be involved when they're all over the world. But for sure, if they can get involved, I would involve them. It's just better that way, I think. On the flip side though, other times you'll get people that just expect way too much and it's not possible, and especially when they're not supplying the things you need to create the product that they're after, is what I'm saying. So the other thing here then with this track is compression that I'm using on the drums section as well as the EQs. So this part, actually, I believe, yeah, so that part here, that was some vocals. My bad, the drums are in blue. So these are the drums here you can see, and I'm using compression and a gate to create a clear mix. Yeah, they do for sure. They always want to be involved, and they always want more than they expect that you can deliver, at least anyway. So the drum section here, I use a gate to isolate the drums and create a bit more punch. I don't know if people use gates or they think that gates are just used for vocals or whatever, but I use a gate for a lot of things. It helps clear up the mix. You can use it for a vocal, you can use it for a single individual instrument like a kick or a snare, and you can just throw it on whatever it works. Just try out stuff. Honestly, if you try things in your mix, like a gate, or you try EQ that you're not, just do stuff that you're not familiar with and just try and get different results, maybe that you didn't expect from using things that you're not familiar with. Like compression can definitely give you a result that you didn't expect on drums or vocals or whatever. So the gate, I'll just show you the gate settings that I've got. Hopefully if I play this, I don't know what it'll do, but anyway, we'll find out. And I won't give up. Nope, that's not working. Yeah, let's just fix this here. Okay, so I think I know the issue that we're facing, so I might just quickly fix that. Just give me one sec, just fixing the actual sample rate. I think that's why my stream stuffed up the last time. Alright, see if we can play this now. And I won't give up, I won't stop. You're my beauty to rescue. Okay, so that's what the gate's doing. You can see this is opening and closing, and that's allowing silence to be edited via this gate. So I'm using that to isolate the drums a bit more than they were when I first got it. Let me just see if I can solo the drum kit and show you what that would sound like as well. So let's just play the drums. And I'll turn the gate off.